Hello kids, this is Cascade and we are in the game of Kenshi, and my explore team is in the Deadlands, Black Desert City, but to be more specific we are in the Scrap House now, and this probably has one of the greatest collections of weapons, melee weapons, swords that you can use in the game. And so before I have Ruka talk to the person here, Quinn, I'm gonna just get out of this, but I will have him talk to him a little bit later. I want to go through some of the weapons that my guys have right now and just kind of give a rundown on the different types of weapons. So we'll start with Robert Plant and we'll just go on down the line here. So Robert Plant has a ringed saber. So this is a saber class. Has a cutting damage of 1.48, which is actually pretty high. This is a really good model. It's a model Mark II. It's not the highest, but you can see how shiny silver it is, and it is a really, really good weapon. And the blunt damage is not that great. It's 0.28. So really in endgame, you want to get something that has good cutting damage and really good blunt damage, especially when you're going up against opponents, enemies that are well equipped and also have good armor. And I think I'll do a little video later of different types of armor in another episode. Blood loss on this particular item, this ring saber, and again it's a saber class, is 0.90. So with the good high cutting damage, you're going to get a lot of blood loss, especially for those enemies that are not armored up as much. It has a really good defense bonus of +2, but attack bonus of -2. It states here that this is a classic hard-hitting blade used by many legendary swordsmen, including Ark himself. I think, I might be mistaken, but I think Ark is in the Ashlands, and that's really a end-game type thing. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. The rings are pretty noisy and mainly designed to distract and annoy the hell out of your opponent. Beat things hate it, but it tends to just make them more violent. And these are manufactured by the Skeleton Smiths. Skeletons from Black Desert City, which is where we're at, produce blades solely for personal use. However, it's inevitable that some eventually wind up in circulation. So that is what Robert is carrying right now, and I'm trying to level him up. He does have good saber stats here with 26 right now. Katana's at 21. And these are the different weapon classes. If you can look over here right now just at Robert Plant, you've got these different weapon classes. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got katanas, which are really lightweight, good cutting damage, but really very little blunt damage. So if you have somebody with a lot of armor, you probably will not cause much of a problem. Sabers are very, very common, used by a lot of people. Again, not as heavy, a lot of blood loss damage, but not very much blunt damage. Hackers are very, very efficient in game. They cause a lot of blood loss, and they also cause a lot of blunt damage, which is really fantastic. Then you got heavy weapons, and they are, as the name describes them, they are very, very heavy. You probably want to start using them when you get your strength up, and generally you want to have your strength double what the weapon weight is. And so these weapons are very, very good. You can use them for middle in-game type stuff. So you really need to be strong to carry this weapon. They're really good against big things and also in-game type stuff. Hackers and heavy weapons. Now, blunt weapons don't cause any cutting damage that I know of, and that's what it says right there. They don't cause much in way of blood loss. And usually these are kind of a pole-like, kind of like a beater stick, and they are good for opponents that maybe have heavy armors. I don't tend to use them. I know some people love them. I think they're really good in game. I'm trying to level one of my players up using. I've got a really good blunt weapon, and maybe we'll see that as we go down the line here. And then you got pole arms, which are very, very long, and they have a really good reach. And when you're fighting against animals, these are some of the best weapons that you can use, and they tend to be fairly lightweight. Not like the katanas. The katanas are the lightest, good blood loss damage, but not blunt damage. And pole arms are a little bit heavier than katanas, but still very light considering the other classes of weapons. So let's see what else we have for Robert Plant. Here is his one katana. I always carry a second weapon with me. I don't know, just in case I'm maybe fighting an animal or fighting inside, it's a little bit better. You can see the cutting damage on this katana right here is 1.24, very high. Blunt damage 0. Blood loss high again, 1.2. And this is a model Mark II. So this is a very good, and it is very fast because it's lightweight. It's only 2 kilograms. It has an attack bonus of +4, but a defense bonus of -4. So damage versus humans is plus 10%. So some of your middle level, weaker humans, this is a really good weapon to carry, and also level up your opponents, level up your characters, I should say, early in the game until about mid-game and start carrying a little bit better weapon. Okay, let's take a look at Van Zant. He has a ring saber, and he has a different kind of a saber here, which is pretty lightweight. It's only 4 kilograms, but this is called a longsword. It is in the saber class, and it has high cutting damage, 1.15. It has it has a little bit of blunt damage. Again, you're not going to find very much blunt with sabers or katanas at all. Blood loss 0.9, so that's really good. Let's take a look at Rain the Giant. Ooh, this is the hacker class. This is probably one of my favorite weapons. This is called the Moon Cleaver, and again, it's in the hacker class, and it has a cutting damage of 0.92, which is not bad. And this one is a model Mark III. So far the weapons we've looked at, this one seems to be the best. I have to look back at Van Zant. His longsword here, oh, it's only a Mark I. So far in looking at my characters, this has the best damage to it, or the best model. It's a model Mark III. It has 0.92 cutting damage, and it has a blunt damage is pretty high too, of 0.96. Blood loss about 0.5. Armor penetration. See, that's why you want to get a hacker, because it has heavy armor penetration of +30. And again, when you get into the end game, you start fighting some people with really good armor and really good weapons. You really want to have something that can penetrate that armor. The defense is not that great, -2. And then at the end game, you might be fighting some robots like you would in the Ashlands. And you can see that it has a +20% for robots. So this is a very good weapon. This is a katana class. This is a ninja blade. Has high cutting damage, but very little, well, 0 blunt damage. High blood loss. Armor penetration is terrible. Damage versus robots is terrible. So wouldn't want to have this weapon. Now, he is also carrying a heavy weapon, which is a Falling Sun. And this is the first heavy weapon we've seen in my group. And you can see the cutting damage. Man, this is a dangerous weapon. 1.48 as far as cutting damage, and blunt damage is really good at 1.1. And the blood loss is even 1. Indoors is not very good, but you don't have too many. At least I don't have too many fights indoors. It has really good damage against big things, gorillas, and leviathans. But you can see that it has no armor penetration. So I just favor these hackers more than anything. But these Falling Suns are probably my second favorite weapon. But you got two different classes here. Actually, he's carrying three different classes of weapons. He's got a hacker is his main weapon, and I can interchange that with this heavy weapon, which is the second one. And then the third classification that Rain the Giant is carrying is a katana. Let's look at Sad Neil. He's kind of leveling up right now. He's not incredibly strong. Let me pull this up. He's still leveling up with his strength. So he's got a strength of only 14. So that's not very good. So this is a Desert Saber of the Saber class. And you can see it has pretty good cutting damage. It's got a little bit of blunt damage. Blood loss damage is 1. Has a good defense bonus. But what I really like about these Desert Sabers, especially when you're going through the swamp, it's really good against spiders. It's really good against bone dogs. It's good against skimmers. So whether you're in the Great Desert or whether you're in the swamp areas where you have blood spiders, this is a very, very effective weapon. And some of my characters have this as an alternative weapon in their backpack. And he's also carrying a katana class ninja blade here. And this is a Model 1, and this is a Cantoon number 3. So actually, Sad Neil, I'm waiting for him to kind of get a little bit stronger. His strength will level up, and I will generally give him a heavier weapon, probably something like a hacker. Let me see what his classification is right now. So for sabers, he's at 29. See, at hackers, he's at 4. Look at heavy weapons, -3. That is just horrible. Now, if I had him use some of these weapons, he would level up really quicker. But the only problem is if he's fighting a heavy-duty opponent, he's carrying a heavy weapon that has a heavy weight, a lot of kilograms. He will not level up. So maybe I should get him a polearm. I might get him a polearm here at the Black Desert City lab. So this is Ruka, and she has got a hacker, and this is a combat cleaver. This is another one of my, I think the Moon Cleaver is probably my favorite, and then maybe this combat cleaver, and then probably the Falling Sun. Just my personal preference. This is a Mark III, which is very, very good. High cutting damage, good blunt damage, good blood loss. Armor penetration, you can see, is +30, and damage versus robots +25. So I really like this one. And we have a katana here, and we've looked at some of those. This is Orin, and Orin is carrying a heavy weapon, and you can see the cutting damage 1.48, blunt damage 1.1. This is a Mark II. I hope to level up all my characters even higher than what they have right now. And then we've gone through some of the other statistics for the Falling Sun. And this is a katana again as the secondary weapon. Now let's look at Burn. I've had Burn a little bit longer, so he's a little bit stronger than Sad Neil. No, he isn't. Yes, he is. He's actually, I got Burn before I got... No, I didn't. I got Burn after Sad Neil. That is correct. But Burn is leveling up pretty quick. He's got a strength of 18. He's carrying a katana class. This is called a topper. This is the first topper we've seen. It's a Mark II model. It has a cutting damage that's really high, 1.36, but very little blunt damage. Good blood loss, but you take a penalty on armor penetration and indoor penalty. And then we have another katana down here. But over here we have another long cleaver. And I probably should start using that more. I want to see what Burn is good at. And Burn actually came with some pretty good stats. So I've been using the katana a lot. So his katana level right now is at 26. But I need to start using this hacker and get him. So he's got pretty decent for kind of just starting out. I mean, I've had him for a while. But let's take a look at Stubbs. And here we get our first polearm. And it has a cutting damage of 1.05, a little bit of blunt damage, 0.22, good blood loss. Again, this is something you want to use against animals, and also it's +25. Good attack bonus of +4. But again, versus robots, you don't want to use this in end game. That's why I have this over here. And this is a saber class. This is a hold saber. And it doesn't really have armor damage, but it has pretty good cutting damage, and blunt damage isn't bad. And here's another desert saber that I could trade out when I'm going through the swamp or somewhere with blood spiders or bone dogs and skimmers, stuff like that. So here's Infinite Wing Wang. He's got, you can see this one's a little bit rusty. This is a Cartoon number 2, and this is a ring saber. I want to see what his stats are. Oh, he's only got a hacker of 1, which is just terrible. I want to see about Stubbs here. What is his hacker? It's a 1 as well. I might want to level these guys up. I might get some hackers here when we're done. This is Beep. I got Beep. Beep is still extremely weak. Has strength of only 4, which is just absolutely horrible. The attack did go up because I made Beak fight this last episode. Defense, everything else for Beep is pretty bad. Mainly, I would use Beep for assassination and sneak, but have to be careful because Beep is very fragile, and Beep is also my favorite character. So Beep has a total weight of 19 and can carry 19 before he becomes over encumbered. So he's trying to get strong, and he's just has this Mark III. It's actually a pretty good little katana. It's a guardless katana, so it's not bad, and he can swing. It's only 1 kilogram, so that's not too bad. So here's Crumble John, and here's another pole arm, and it has armor penetration of plus 30, so that is pretty good. It's only 8 kilograms, so maybe for some of my other characters I would want to get some pole arms. That would be good for armor penetration, but again, the only thing you're really going to have against robots that would cause blunt damage would be, armor penetration or damage to robots would be probably a hacker. That would be the best thing you could use. So this polearm's really good against animals, and this is a Mark I model. This is a Mark III katana class ninja blade, and then he's got another long cleaver. I seem to have quite a few long cleavers, and this one is really good against robots. So let me check out his stats right now. And he can use a hacker. I mean, he's got pretty much 10s across the board. He's been using the polearm, so that's why he's at 13 for his polearm. Okay, let's look at Shrike, and Shrike is really, really weak. Kind of like Beep, just a little bit better. I don't know if I'm really going to keep Shrike much longer. I might want to get a different character, which I could. I could dismiss her if I want to. I'm trying to train her up and keep her around. She's one of the unique characters in the game, but she's got a ninja blade. And we got Horse here, and he has a saber weapon. It's Cartoon number 3, and a katana, which is actually a pretty good katana right here. And he is not very strong either, and neither is Hobbs. But Hobbs has a polearm class, a Nagata katana, and it's really good against humans, animals, and has a defense bonus. Now let's take a look real quick at some of my gunners here. We got Petey, and there's different types of weapons or different types of crossbows they can use. This is a spring bat, but if you look at that underneath the spring bat in yellow, it says Specialist. This thing is one of the highest class weapons you can get. Very, very good weapon. So, or crossbow. So this is Pia, and this is probably the lowest level crossbow you can get. It's a toothpick, but you can see there it's a high class toothpick. It's lightweight. It's not very powerful, but it can be used to spray an opponent with bolts at close range before switching to a sword. So we've got SRV. He has also got a spring bat. It's high. It's not as good as Petey's, but it's still a very good crossbow. And then we've got Lecco with a Specialist toothpick, which is really, really a good toothpick. That's why I'm having them with toothpicks. Now, what I want to do is probably get an Eagle's Cross a little bit later in the game for my crossbow people. So they are the best weapons that you can get. And so at this time right now, I am going to have Ruka talk to the seller of weapons right here. And we'll just go through some of these and just kind of go down. So here is the Eagle's Cross. No, this is an old world bow. And this is really a good one, but I think the best would be these Eagle Cross. Now, if you look below this Eagle's Cross, this crossbow, it says Masterwork. This is as high as you can get. And you'll notice that all the weapons, pretty much all the weapons here, are bright and shiny. That means they have really, really good weapons. So this up here is a hacker, and it is very good. I like this one. I think I might have to get this one for somebody. I don't have much money though, and this thing costs almost 20,000 cats. Might have to make a little bit more money back in Squin so I can get some of these weapons, but maybe if I can get one or two, that would be good. So this one has good armor penetration and really good damage against robots. I really like this one, but this one's a little bit heavy. It's 17 kilograms, so I think I will come back to this. It's a model Mark II. It's called a Paladin's Cross. Again, it's a hacker, 0.99 for cutting damage, blunt damage 0.88, which is really good, blood loss 0.75. And it says this about the cross. It's a revered holy weapon and symbol of the Paladins. You will see this with the Holy Nation. With it, they have been slaying skeletons and people they think might be skeletons for centuries. And it's from the skeletons right here in Black Desert City. So I don't think I have anybody with a Paladin's Cross. I may get that. So here's some more over here. This one is an Edge Type 1, which is just fantastic grade of weapon. And you can see the cost of this one is 30,000 cats, and it's 22 kilograms. So it is very heavy. Now this heavy weapon right here is 31 kilograms and is a model Edge Type 3. This is a Falling Sun that we've looked at. So they get heavier and pricier as you level up. This is a Nodachi, which is a katana, and you can see how long this is, and really, really good cutting damage, almost a 2. No blunt damage for the katanas. Really good against humans, but again, you're not going to get any armor damage. In fact, you take a penalty with these. Some more hackers, some Eagle's Crosses, some more Paladin's Crosses, a lot of Paladin's Crosses here. Now, this right here is called a Fragmented Axe. It is a heavy weapon, and it has pretty okay cutting damage, 0.52, but look at that blunt damage. This is among the highest blunt damage. It is 2.7. This is a very good weapon, but look at the weight of that thing right there, 53 kilograms. I mean, you're talking way, way in game if you can even get somebody strong enough to carry this. But this is if you have somebody that can swing this, you're talking about just a really heavy duty weapon. Now look at how shiny these are. These two right here. So this is a Edge Type 1, Edge Type 2. We've got an Edge Type 2. Now this is a Mark 1, but it's still a little bit shiny. Now look at this hacker over here. This is a Flesh Cleaver, which I really, really like. But you can see it's a Katoon number 3. So when you start to see weapons kind of get a little bit rusty, you're moving down as far as your models go in classification. Now here is a blunt weapon. This is a mercenary club, and I think I have this in one of my animals packed away. And you can see that it has very little cutting damage, 0.25, but the blunt damage is like 1.1. Blood loss, 0.3. Armor penetration is plus 30, But look at the damage versus robots, plus 20. But again, this is a very heavy weapon at 22 kilograms. So this might be something I could pick up. This one's a little bit cheaper. It's only 7,000 cats. So we've got some more. This is one of my favorites right here. This is the Moon Cleaver. This is Edge Type 2, but it's very pricey at almost 28,000 cats. Excellent cutting, blunt damage, armor penetration, and damage versus robots. Let's see, what is the best damage versus robots? Oh, it has to be the Paladin's Cross. It has a plus 50, but again, it's kind of heavy. I'm gonna get some Paladin's Crosses. They are hackers, and they are very, very good. You do take a damage when you're fighting a human and an animal, but they're really, really good against robots. Another hacker here, have some damage against robots. Now this is one we haven't looked at. This is one I don't really use very much. This is a saber class, a foreign saber. It's model Mark II, which is really good. Has good cutting damage at 1.48, very little blunt damage, good blood loss, has a really good defense bonus, and it's not terribly heavy. It's 8 kilograms. So I would only get that for somebody that I wanted to protect. And I think we did look at a ring saber already before, or hold saber I should say, not a ring saber, but a hold saber. Has really good cutting damage, a little bit of blunt damage, good blood loss, mainly defense, but it's a really good weapon. I use it a lot when I'm fighting other people. So those are some of the weapons here that I wanted to look at, and I think I will continue the episode a little bit later, but until then I'm just going to sign off with this episode, and we'll do a little episode later of different armors and stuff like that. So hope you enjoyed the episode. Please hit like and subscribe, and this is Cascade signing out, and I hope your day is a great one.